Hey, Steve Adubato here. Sometimes I get to do a program about things I'm fascinated in. I hope you're fascinated as well, because the guy you're going to listen to knows more about sports at every level than anyone I know. He's Steve Politi, sports columnist for NJ Advanced Media. You can read him on NJ.com, Star Ledger, a bunch of other places. He was just voted, Steve, check this out, the #1. Did you know that you were selected as the #1 sports columnist for the second year in a row by the Associated Press? Did you know that?
I'm aware of that. Thanks. Yeah, it was
Congratulations, my friend.
The big award is I get to keep this job and keep doing it, which I love so much. So
Hey, when we get to keep our gig in media, that's a good thing.
It's a good thing.
Can we do this? I'm going to go through a bunch of things with you. I do want to talk to you. Can we start with this, the significance? I want to talk to you about college sports. The Devils, Mary Gambar runs our company, is a Devils fan. I'm a Rangers fan. We're doing this show. When we're doing it, it'll be seen later. Sorry to the Devils fans out there. You write about the Devils, the Giants, college sports at every level, Rutgers. We'll talk about all those things. NIL, transfer portal, all that. Can we start with this wacky March 7th game, Manasquan High School against Camden High School basketball game? What the heck was the game? Why does it matter? And you wrote about it and got a lot of attention. Explain what happened.
Sure. I mean, it became a national story. Camden was winning the game late, state playoff game, and Manasquan hit a shot that beat the buzzer, clearly beat the buzzer, ruled correctly by the referees on the court that it had beaten the buzzer. And that's when all hell broke loose, because one referee wasn't sure about his decision. They huddled up, changed the call to the incorrect call. So that awarded the victory to Camden. You know, within minutes, I think the referees realized their mistake, but it was too late. They had walked off the court and the decision was made. So it became just a viral national story. Manasquan, of course, what we do in these situations is parents in the school district sued and brought the case to court, and there was all sorts of outrage across the nation about it. But, you know, the decision was made and nothing changed. Camden won the game.
Why do you think the story became a national story that everyone was talking about, Steve?
I think the video was just so, you know, you see bad calls all the time. It's part of sports. There's the human error in all sports. It's just that the fact that it was just such a glaring error to make the call correct and then go back and reverse it. I think
Camden, sorry for interrupting, Steve. As I watched the video, I was trying to understand this. And by the way, Camden's an extraordinary, great basketball program. Manasquan, I mean, the fact that they were even in that game and potentially winning it at the end is amazing. We'll talk about that in a second. Did the Camden coach go up to the referees and lobby for the call to be changed?
I mean, I think there were certainly words that were said in the heat of the moment. You know, this is what coaches do. When there's a close call, you're always going to say, wave it off, that wasn't good. From what I understand, it had nothing to do with what the referee was doing. He was unsure. He was going to seek out his partner. What the referee should have done, and all referees agree, you make the call, you leave the court, you make it with authority. You had the best view of it. You're the one who should be the one who made it. But that clearly he wasn't sure of it and went to his partner, and that's what happened. Yeah.
Last question on this, Steve. The fact that Camden, urban community, disproportionately black. I think all the players are black on that team. Manasquan, Jersey Shore, white kids.
Yeah.
Is there in your mind? Sport. We love sports. I'm obsessed, like a whole bunch of other people. Is there a racial component to this story at all? And if so, what do you think it is?
Man, I hope not. I think people
not either, but I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, people brought up the fact the referee was black. I thought that was very unfair. I mean, the man made a mistake. I don't think you can be smirching that way. And this is what sticks with me, Steve. After all this happened, people are calling on Camden to reverse the decision, to come forward to forfeit. I mean, that doesn't. It's like, did Jared
Camden say you didn't win the game and give it to Manasquan? Who would do that? Who would do that?
Derek Jeter, when he hit the home run in 96 and the ball, no, he didn't go.
The kid
Meyer wasn't good.
What was the kid's name in right field? Meyer?
Jeffrey Meyer. Yeah,
Jeffrey Meyer went out there and reached. It wasn't a home run. Jeter's like, I guess it's a home run. Now the Yankees are going to go, sorry, you win now.
What I loved is the Manasquan players. They were at the game when Camden won the state title.
Were they rooting for Camden?
And I don't know if they were rooting for Camden, but when Camden won the game, they stood and gave them a standing ovation. And that, to me, that stuck out to me as a great sign of sportsmanship. You know what? You're unhappy. You were robbed. Everyone knows you were robbed. but you decided you were there to support the Madison Square girls team happened to be playing in the game after that, but you were there, stood up, gave them a standing ovation. That's the takeaway. That was what stuck with me. They rose above it.
Shift gears, because there's so many things I want to talk to you about. The great Steve Politi identifies the #1 sports columnist, second year in a row by the Associated Press. How about this one? College sports. I just had this conversation with your colleague, John Fanta, over at Fox Sports, who's terrific. I asked him about college sports today, where we are with the transfer portal, kids being able to go to one school after another. 4 years in college, 4 different schools. The NIL, name, image, likeness. Who's got the big money? Who's ever got it? Come to our school. What the heck is college sports becoming, and what does it mean for New Jersey-based institutions of higher learning competing, particularly in basketball and football? Please, Steve.
I mean, it is hard, and I understand traditionalists. If you love the way college sports was 50 years ago, 5 years ago, even, it's hard to watch. And I see Seton Hall as the perfect example. They go to the NIT final, win the championship, hang a banner. Months later, the entire team, not just gone, but the star player of that team is taking money.
So
to go to
Kadari Richmond leaves and goes to a competitor over in Queens at St. John's.
Yep.
It has nothing to do with money.
Of course, everything to do with money, and they admit it, and I think that's part of it for years. I mean, we're talking 100 years of college sports. Athletes couldn't capitalize on the fact that they're a billion-dollar industry for the first time they can. That's a good thing, but it's really up to the people in charge of college sports to figure this out now and to give us some sort of structure.
The athletes were getting the shaft for years. Universities and coaches making big money coming in. You want to try to compensate the athletes. Is the pendulum, has it gone too far the other way where you can't keep a kid and there's hard to create any loyalty or chemistry with the team?
I mean, you could certainly say that. I think that the bigger problem is that these kids know they have a small window to earn money, and there's just no structure. There's no rules. There's nothing to say that they shouldn't move. And I think that's where the NCAA's got to figure this out. All sorts of there's going to be a settlement in a $20 billion lawsuit that'll give back money owed to the NCAA players in the past. From that, they must come up with something that gives some sort of structure.
Yeah, I just found out that the United States House of Representatives is dealing with that issue of past athletes wanting their share. How dare they? And they should get money, but balance is the thing. So how about this? I'm a Giants fan. You write about the Giants. 2 things. Saquon Barkley. You wrote in a column, did you not, Mr. Politi, that it was good that the Giants were not engaged in the emotion of keeping Saquon Barkley, whom I love, number 26. I got a big poster. I love this guy. Works hard in the community. Terrific. And you said, don't let the emotions and don't let the fans who want him influence your decisions. Like, what's that? We're the fans, Steve.
Well, do you want to win
to Philadelphia?
Do you enjoy winning championships? If you enjoy winning championships, you shouldn't overpay a running back when you don't have an offensive line to block for him. They shouldn't have drafted him number 2 overall. They made a mistake to do that. I mean, it was too high. He was a great player, but let's be honest. I mean, they were 6-11 with him. They've been bad with him. They have so many other needs. I think they made the right decision not to do what they've done so many times in the past. What, by the way, they did with Eli Manning, which was they loved Eli. They thought he had some gas left in the tank. Gave him a contract when he was past his prime, and that set this franchise back to where it is now.
You know, you're talking about paying people, and you shouldn't pay Saquon Barkley. Look at what they're paying Daniel Jones, and you don't have to go into the weeds in this. You don't have to be a Giants fan either. But come on, Daniel Jones, you think he's worth the money the Giants are paying him? What has he done on the field?
Well, if you look at some of the contracts they're giving to other quarterbacks, he's going to be underpaid at the rate he's going. But, I mean, they paid what the market gave him. I totally agree with you that it might turn out to be a mistake to give the money they gave to Daniel Jones. But at least now, what they did in this draft, they gave him a receiver, a guy, deep threat in this draft, someone they can throw the ball to. Maybe if they can block for him, that'll help.
All right, I'm going to ask you about the Devils in a second. When did you become obsessed with sports writing?
I became a sports writer when I was working for the Nutley Sun in the 80s, my town paper in New Jersey.
Are you talking about the Orecchios Nutley Sun?
Yes, indeed. Orecchio family Nutley Sun. Yeah, where you get $4 an hour covering high school sports.
Stop it.
Yeah.
With Carl Orecchio, I think it was the publisher over there.
Frank Orecchio and Carmen Orecchio.
Oh, my God. The Nutley Sun, the building over by the the stadium, right across by the Nutley Stadium. Oh my!
Yep,
I
right by
can't believe.
Hop on the Roche. Yep, right down there. Yeah.
So hold on. So you write for the Nutley Sun, and then, but how do you wind up making a living as a sports writer?
You know, I went to college for it in North Carolina, just kind of fell in love with it, got my first job down there, and just been doing it ever since. Just, you know, I mean,
Where'd you grow up?
I grew up in Nutley. Yeah, I lived in town. Yeah.
Wow. All right. Devils. I'm not just doing this for Mary Gamba, who runs our company on a day-to-day basis, but she's an obsessed Devils fan. I am a Rangers fan. As we speak, the playoffs are going on. The Rangers are in it. The Devils never had a chance.
No.
Well, what are you making a face for?
They never had a chance. That's an accurate statement.
Okay, but there are a lot of Devils fans watching right now. Give them reason, or what reason do they have to be hopeful moving forward?
Well, I think that you still have a very young, talented core. You've got Jack Hughes. I mean, you've got Luke Hughes' brother, an excellent defenseman. They were starting a couple kids who were teenagers all season on defense. The biggest problem, everyone knows what it was. The goaltending was terrible, and they didn't identify it early enough. They didn't fix it until it was far too late. You know, now they go into this offseason. They've got to at least get to a point where they've got average goaltending. They had the worst goaltending in league this year. That with a couple of rookie defensemen playing, it makes it very hard.
Real quick, do you care about the World Cup coming to New Jersey?
Of course.
Okay, but why does it matter?
I mean, because it's the biggest sporting event in the world, and we're going to have access to I think 9 different games, including the final, which will be at the Meadowlands, which is just, I mean, you know, and what I love about the World Cup is those teams live in our communities during this. I mean, I'm not sure you're going to run into them when you're getting your bagel one morning, but who knows? Maybe Messi will be sitting there in Jersey City. You have no idea where these guys are going to be. It could be.
Hold on. Speaking about incredibly popular and well-known athletes, I'm a struggling golfer. And I'm obsessed with women's golf, mostly because of Nelly Korda. She played 2 tournaments back-to-back in New Jersey for the LPGA, the Ladies Professional Golf Association. How much impact does a Nelly Korda have on women's golf and people being interested in it?
You know, sadly, not to the level I thought it would have. And I went there and talked to her when it was in Upper Montclair and beforehand. And she's great. She's American. She's incredibly talented. She's got everything you think you would want from your star play. But you would think she'd have a Caitlin Clark kind of effect on the sport, and she hasn't. Yeah, it just hasn't taken off. Maybe it's just, in fact, it's golf. A little bit harder to make an inroads like that. But you would hope that the LPGA would be able to capitalize on her ability and her talent.
Hall of Fame baseball. You've written that the cheaters being denied into the Hall of Fame, otherwise known as Alex Rodriguez. I'm not saying he's a cheater. I'm saying others have said that. You think there's some?
I think you can say that.
I don't take. This is public broadcasting, and we don't take a stand. So here's the question: to what degree? And you've written about this, Steve. Do you believe that baseball, the Hall of Fame of baseball, is totally hypocritical, or partly hypocritical, in who they're letting in and who they're not letting in, what it has to do with steroids or not? Talk about that, because you've written about it.
No, yeah, I haven't. I'm a voter, and I've kind of looked at it this way.
You have a vote in the Hall of Fame?
I do, yeah. And I look at it, can you write the history of the sport without these players? And the idea you could have a Hall of Fame for baseball, not have Barry Bonds or Roger Clemens, to me is just sort of absurd. Alex Rodriguez as well. And the other part of it is we're just kind of, we're keeping out some players who have used steroids. I think it's almost a certainty that we've already let in several players. David Ortiz.
You said Barry Bonds should be in, the all-time home run leader? He should be in.
7-time MVP. I mean, he's got he's the home run record holder. How do you keep someone out like that? I mean, I understand what you're saying about people who say, well, he cheated and used steroids. It was pretty prevalent at that time in baseball.
Did A-Rod be in?
I vote for A-Rod as well. Yes,
you did.
I did. Yep. And I don't vote for. This is my own little moral.
Go ahead.
If I think steroids made you a great player, I won't vote for you. If I think you're already a great player and you've used steroids, then I'm kind of, that's my line in the sand.
Last question: Rutgers football. I'm a Rutgers alum with so many others rooting for. I'm a Seton Hall basketball fan, but I do root for Rutgers football, the football team. Can, in your opinion, they ever compete in the Big Ten?
I think so. I think this year they're going to compete in the Big Ten. The key is that
Did
this
they
is
just lose a
finally
quarterback
well, that's your question.
to the
They
transfer
finally have-
portal?
They finally have a quarterback from Minnesota, Ethan Kaliamakis. Hopefully he'll be the answer. But the big thing is, for the entirety of the first 10 years in the Big Ten, Ohio State, Penn State, Michigan, always on the schedule. None of those three teams are on the schedule this year. Even if you replace it with Southern Cal and Washington, it's just an easier chance. It's a chance finally for them to get out from underneath those three powers.
Hey, Steve Politi, this was a guilty pleasure for me, and I hope it was valuable for all of you watching. Steve Politi, a sports columnist with NJ Advanced Media. As I said before, the Associated Press voted him the #1 sports columnist, second year in a row in the country. Steve, you are a pleasure every time I talk to you, and you're terrific. Wish you all the best. Thanks, Steve.
Thanks, Steve. Appreciate it having me. Thank you.
You got it. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
One-on-One with Steve Adubato is a production of the Caucus Educational Corporation, celebrating 30 years in public broadcasting. Funding has been provided by the New Jersey Economic Development Authority, Valley Bank, PSC&G, Delta Dental of New Jersey, the Healthcare Foundation of New Jersey, the New Jersey Education Association, the Northward Center, NJ Best, New Jersey's 529 College Savings Plan, and by the Turrell Fund, a foundation serving children. Promotional support provided by ROINJ and by Meadowlands Chamber.
The Northward Center continues to expand their services and outreach in Newark from the childhood years to the golden years, offering programs like preschool, youth leadership development, Casa Israel Adult Medical Day Program, our Family Success Center, as well as a gymnasium, and most recently, Hope House, a permanent home for adults with autism, supporting and nurturing our autism community, with Hope House 2 coming soon. The Northward Center, we're here when you need us.